Hey, Roger Martin again from Billings, Montana. Good day. This is with X22, and we're talking about tariffs with Europe as well as China. What's this going to do? I don't know, but France is already warning not to do it, and I think Trump's going to. I think you're going to see the relationship here challenged, if not strained, if not pushed, so we can get out of the uh, central banks in Europe pushing us where we don't want to go.
And the EU cannot do anything about it. And you combine that with Lighthouser's calculated 2.4 billion against France, and you can easily see how severe these economic weapons will be. And with Britain leaving the EU, and with Germany and France and Italy already suffering from lack of investment and shrinking sales of industrial products, the EU economy is a sitting duck for Trump. He is now targeting the EU. There is no way France can lead the charge for a tariff battle against the United States. Now, unlike China, the EU is very vulnerable right now to Trump's economic hurricane.
That's going to be interesting. I don't know what's going to happen. We're going to see.
If you're promoting
Okay, so what's the trade deal going to be between the UK and the United States? I don't know. But we're going to soon find out. Everything is shifting economically and internationally, and the central banks know it.
A lot of the trade's going to flow through the UK, and the country is going to prosper. Now, in the beginning, there's going to be bumps. It's going to have to readjust because you're getting rid of the old system and bringing in a new system. But
All right, so we're going to see what's going to happen here. Let's move on. I spent too much time on this. But economic changes are coming, and we just don't know what they're all going to be. With the UK as well as the EU. All right, we're going to go back to Hunter Biden. Problems are coming out on him, and there will be more coming out in the near future.
the judge recused himself, and there are problems in the case. But throughout this case, we can see that things are now starting to come out. Now, according to a newly submitted court document in Hunter Biden's paternity case with London Roberts, Hunter used his deceased brother's identity to check into a rehab facility and make false statements to the police. Now, the court papers, which cite Prescott, Arizona police report, describe what allegedly happened on the morning of October 28, 2016, when a Hertz rental car employee reportedly received a phone call around 10 a.m. and subsequently discovered suspicious items inside one of the rental cars. Now, remember, if we go back to October 2016, just days before the election, there was a crack pipe that was found in Hunter Biden's Hertz renter car. And surprise, surprise, the county
Nice, a crack pipe in Hunter's rental car.
and city attorney's office declined to prosecute Hunter Biden. And Hertz rental car received a bizarre phone call from a person named Joseph McGee that was traced back to a colon hydrotherapist in the region. Very, very strange, very odd, but coming out of this case, we're starting to see a lot of information. And Hunter Biden, well, it seems like he's getting into more and more trouble.
All right, let's get into this a little more. The next thing, this whistleblower form has been changed. I don't know who the whistleblower is. All this has been kept under wraps. It's got to come out sometime.
Thing in motion. And it seems that Michael Atkinson is now being investigated. And Devin Nunes says that Atkinson is under active investigation. He says, I'm not going to go any farther than that because, obviously he has a chance to come in and prove his innocence. But my guess is Schiff, Atkinson, they don't want the transcript out because it's very damaging. And remember, Schiff, he has kept the transcript hidden and classified because the content is extremely damaging to the origin of the impeachment fraud. And they don't want this released. Of course, They're saying they're protecting the whistleblower. They can't release this. They can't release the name. They can't do any of this stuff. But what they're really doing is they're hiding this information.
All right, so they're hiding the whistleblower information. We know that. That's why they don't want it out. It's got some damaging information on it. What it is, who knows? But the sooner we can get it out, the better it's going to be for the Republicans, and the worse it's going to be for these fraudulent people and their fraudulent crimes. Now, why are they asking Flynn to be incarcerated for 0 to 6 months?
No jail time before, but now they're asking for jail time. Very interesting. This is coming out of Technofog. The Department of Justice takes back its previous position that Flynn substantially assisted the government. In December 2018, Flynn provided substantial assistance. January 2020, Flynn has not substantially assisted the government. Now, a lot of people are saying, I thought Flynn was going to go free. What's going on? Well, yes, Flynn will go free at the right moment. He might end up in jail, and he might be released from prison a week later. We don't know exactly how this is going to play out, but what we do know is that there is certain evidence that will free Flynn that is classified, and it needs to be
So, is Flynn going to have to go to jail for a little while before this classified information can come out? Oh my God.
classified, and it is being used in other instances. Let's go back to post 3693. It says, same evidence to free Flynn currently being used to indict others. Grand jury, 302 mod 1 count, who listened in, 2 count FISA, 6 counts. If FISA warrant was illegal, if FISA warrant predicated an illegal uncorroborated, if FISA actors purposely withheld exculpatory evidence from the court, watch what happens next. And I think once all this is said and done, they will declassify the FISA warrant, show that they got this illegally, and then the entire case starts to fall apart. Remember, the Mueller prosecutors, they are pushing for this as hard as they possibly can. They got caught up in their lies, and we'll have to see how the judge plays this all out. Now, if the judge does not really look at the evidence and set Flynn free, we know that once his FISA warrant is declassified, Flynn will be set free.
Wow, what a shame. Now we're going to talk about Admiral Rogers working with Flynn and with others. Durham.
Yes, because you can see that Rogers is working with Durham. What did Rogers do? This is Admiral Rogers. He investigated FISA abuses. We have the IG FISA report out showing how the FISA was abused. Take all of this together, and what do you have? You have fake FISA warrants. And I believe this is going to be produced later on. Now, we know that Nancy Pelosi,
Wow, but why does Flynn have to go to jail? I don't understand. Beyond my understanding, unfortunately, hopefully he doesn't.
is doing everything she possibly can to keep this fake impeachment going. And they're holding back the articles of impeachment, but we can see that Senator McConnell, we can see others in the Senate, they're not waiting. They're not doing what the House says. The House does not have control over the Senate. The Senate has its own rules. They can change their rules. And that's exactly what they're doing. And it looks like they are moving forward. Yes, Nancy, Schumer, and the rest, they can all scream and yell all they want. But just like the Senate can't tell what the House to do, the House can't tell the Senate what to do. And we know what Nancy and the rest are trying to do. They're trying.
Now, I don't know if he's going to come to it or not, but the Missouri senator is now saying Pelosi has 25 days She's got to the 31st of this month to forward those articles of impeachment, or it's dead. He's going to kill it in February. We'll see what happens. So Soleimani's been a bad guy, and the UN banned him. If the UN banned him, he's got to be pretty bad. Too diligent impeachment and implement restrictive measures on Soleimani. So why was Soleimani in Iraq?
Remember, the UN Secretary General asked countries to diligently implement restrictive measures on Soleimani. So why was Soleimani in Iraq? And gave us this link. Now, this is Resolution 2231 back in 2015. This has to do with the deal that was made with Iran. And if you go to section 1.9, this is page 39, it says listings of persons, entities, and bodies, asset freeze, and visa ban. 1.9.1, asset freeze and visa ban measures applicable to listed Iranian banks and financial institutions, including the Central Bank of Iran, listed persons, entities, and bodies related to the oil, gas, and petrochemical sectors. And it goes on and says these are the list of people that are banned. And then you have to take this section and go look up the people that are banned, asset freeze and visa ban. And when you do that on page 62, what do you have? Qasem Soleimani. He was banned. He was sanctioned. So what was he doing in Iraq? And if we take this further, why was his name listed? There were many, many names there. But why is his name listed? Because he was designated as a terrorist. Now, let's...
Designated as a terrorist and actually banned in the UN? That's shocking in and of itself. This is interesting. Donald Trump, 2018. Obama administration granted citizenship during terrible Iran deal negotiation. 2,500 Iranians, including government officials. How big and bad is that?
Granted citizenship during the terrible Iran deal negotiation to 2,500 Iranians, including to government officials. How big and bad is that? Now, the mainstream media at the time accused Trump of making false claims, which turned out to be true later on. Fox News reported on this, and there were certain officials in Iran that said, yes, the Obama administration granted citizenship to 25 Iranians, including family members of government officials, while negotiating the Iran nuclear deal. And this was part of the entire deal. So, once again, why was he allowing this at the time? And then we have to talk about how a lot of these funds filtered their way into the terrorist groups. Remember, back when John Kerry was making the deal, we had pallets of cash that Obama sent over to Iran. And a lot of individuals back then said, where's this cash going? Who authorized this? Why are you giving it to them on pallets? And they basically sent over about $400 million on the day the deal was implemented, plus
$400 million in cash on pallets. I tell you, Obama is one of the worst terrorist, worst anti-American presidents you've ever watched and seen. To my mind, he's a terrorist. He's a Muslim terrorist. He's at least implemented in it in many ways.
Plus an additional 2 payments totaling about $1.3 billion later. And when asked about all of this, and this was the Republicans back then, saying that, hey, we're a little concerned about this money. Where did this money come from? Why did you send it over? And will this money go to fund terrorism? And John Kerry responded at the time that some of these funds might go to terrorism. This is from CNN back then. Secretary of State John Kerry acknowledged to CNBC Thursday that some of the money Iran received in sanctions relief would go to groups considered terrorists. He said, I think that some...
And why didn't they stop this? He is Kerry. I don't trust him as far as I could throw him.
Some of it will end up in the hands of the IRGC or other entities, some of which are labeled terrorists. And here we are today. So do you think just some of the money went to the terrorists? Or do you think a lot of the money went to the terrorists? I believe a lot of it was sent over to fund the terrorists. And now,
Why is it that treasonous? I don't understand. I think the Republicans are guilty of a lot of spineless acts and not standing up to the Democrats and President Obama in a lot of ways. Don't get me wrong, I don't think it's all the Dems.
calls on Iraq to continue to support the international coalition. The E3 group of countries say it has grave concerns over negative role played by Iran in the region and in particular by the Quds force under Soleimani. So who are the countries with? Are they backing what the mainstream media is saying? Are they backing what the deep state is saying? Or are they backing what Trump is doing? It seems like they're backing what Trump is doing. And they already understand that Soleimani was pushing terror in the region. Nick Short.
There you are, so we'll learn more as all this comes out. Pretty dicey. This is Q again. Iran next. RT days after. RT Kenya.
And Anon put up a meme, and it has Trump pointing at Obama and says, "When I'm done, it'll be like you were never even here." Then it gives us a picture of the Punisher. And down below it says, "When we're done, he'll claim Kenya citizenship as a way to escape." And when you look at the situation, we have now started with Iran. Kenya is happening at the same exact time. And everything is in motion.
He'll claim Kenya's citizenship to escape. What a snake. He was born in Kenya. I was wrong about that.
All the pieces of the plan are now coming together. And the American people are being brought up to speed so they can learn the truth. How do we know that we're getting really, really close? Yes, we've heard about New York Times telling us about deep fakes.
There's more in Q.
Make-believe has been ingrained for a long time. Do not isolate yourself within your own family. Dark to light. Truth will shine. Impossible to defend. Impossible to ignore. Stay strong. You're not alone. Patriots all. So when the truth starts to come out, don't try to force it on someone. Don't scream and yell at them. It's almost like the saying, you can drag a horse to water, but you can't make the horse drink the water. Or with the Matrix, I can open the door, but you have to walk through it.
All right, so this stuff's coming, and hang on, the show's going to get very interesting. You have to scream at people, tell them they're going to have to waken up their own subconscious and their own mind. All right, so we're coming into it, and I think this is all going to hit really hard this spring, summer, and fall. It's going to intensify, and you're going to have to choose one way or another. Finish watching Mark from Village, Montana.